Hey y'all, happy Tuesday. Happy spoken word Tuesday. I hope you guys days come along fine. Anyway, you guys know on Tuesdays I like to bring the word. And earlier I read the short from Jeremiah chapter 2, verse 35, KJV version. And it reads as follows. Yet thou sayest, because I am innocent, surely his anger shall turn from me. Behold, I will plead with thee because thou sayest I have sinned, right? Now, that delusional way of thinking is that person who has very much sinned, because we all fall short of the glory, right? And we was all born into this sinful state or this sinful world. So there is no way of getting around the sin that we was born into. Soon as you come out that womb, you was born into a world of sin. So I hope the mama was talking to the father while you was in the stomach. So the mother was preparing that child, for this sinful state of the world that we born into. That way, if the mother was speaking the word to the child while they was in their stomach, then you'd be amazed how that child will already be prepared to come to the sinful state with the father already instilled in them. And then not to mention, children are God's anyway. So when you look at a baby, you're looking at God, right? So up until about 5 years old, children communicate with the father, right? So although they may be born to a sinful state, they know they come from the father. They know the father is the light, right? But when they get older, it's when they start transgressing against the father, okay? So just know that, we all was born into a sinful state. There's no way getting around it. We all fall short of the glory, right? So if you thinking that you're innocent, you have not sinned, then that very thought have caused you to sin because we was born into a sinful state. So again, Jeremiah 2:35 reads as follows. Yet thou sayest, because I am innocent, surely his anger shall turn from me. Behold, I will plead with thee because thou sayest, I have not sinned, but you have, right? Today, you guys, I will be reading from Jeremiah 2. That show was also from Jeremiah 2, right? And Jeremiah 2 is basically talking about the prophet of Jeremiah, right? The calling of him and everything, right? When Jeremiah is trying to talk to the people how they're rejecting the father, how bitter they would be and everything, the sins of Judah and everything. So Jeremiah talks about a lot, right? Okay, so today I'll be reading Jeremiah, KJV version, okay? All right. The header reads as follows. The prophet Jeremiah, verse 1. The words of Jeremiah, the son of Hilkiah. Oh my Lord. I'm sorry. Jeremiah 2, I said 1, 2, okay? Okay. And actually, this header is God's people continue to reject him, okay? Jeremiah was the prophet, okay? Of course, that went along. But this one right here, instead of me focusing on the prophet Jeremiah, we're going to be focusing on the people. Jeremiah is speaking to the people, but the people is rejecting the father, okay? All right. And the header is God's people continue to reject him, okay? Chapter 2, verse 1. Moreover, the word of the Lord came to me, saying, Go and cry in the ears of Jerusalem, saying, Thus saith the Lord, I remember thee, the kindness of thy youth, the love of thine espousals, when thou wentest after me in the wilderness, in a land that was not sown. Israel was holiness unto the Lord, and the first fruits of his increase. All that devour him shall offend. Evil shall come upon them, saith the Lord. Hear ye the word of the Lord, O house of Jacob, and all the families of the house of Israel. Thus said the Lord, what iniquity have your fathers found in me, that they are gone from me, gone far from me, okay, and have walked after vanity and are become vain. Okay, so now this is the word that the father speaks to Jeremiah, to go say to the people, to go cry into Israel, into Judah, to go cry into our ancestors, right? To let them know, right? He remembered them. He remembered, Judah and Israel, doing the kindness of their youth when they was married to the father and their son, right? When they was living in the wilderness into a land that was not sown, right? It say Israel was holy unto the Lord, right? Their first fruits had increased, and all them that offended Israel, the father had devoured them and evil came upon them, okay? So now, the father is saying, he's telling y'all, he's crying out to y'all, hear ye the word of the Lord, O house of Jacob, and all the families of the house of Israel. Thus said the Lord, what iniquity have your fathers found in me, that they are gone far from me and have walked after vanity and are become vain. He's asking you, what have he done to you guys for y'all to walk away from him and become vain, right? And, and be, in favor to all these other gods, right? All the time when the other gods and the other nations was coming against Israel, the Father was defending Israel, right? Evil was coming upon them. All who offended Israel, the Father defended. But now, we have gone far away. So now he sent the prophet Jeremiah to cry out to us, to ask us, what have he done for us to go away from him, and walk in vain and everything, believe in vain, right? Going far from the Father, because of the iniquities, right? That you transgress against the Father, being around all these nations, right? But again, when you was younger, you loved the Father. But as you get older, you go straight away from him, and then you become vain in your walk. All right, verse 6. Neither said they, where is the Lord that brought us out of the land of Egypt, that led us through the wilderness, through a land of deserts and of pits, through a land of drought and of shadow and of death, through a land that the man passed through and where no man dwelt, right? He said, and I brought you into a plentiful country to eat the fruit thereof and the goodness thereof. But when ye entered, ye defiled my land and made my heritage an abomination. Okay, so he just said, when the Father brought Israel out of Egypt, right? Neither they say, oh, the Father brought us out of Egypt, let's be grateful, right? The Father led us through the wilderness, right? Through the deserts, all these pits, through a droughful land, right? And ended our death and everything, right? He brought us through lands in which no man passed or dwelled, right? And he also brought us into a plentiful country to eat of the fruits thereof, all the goodness thereof. But when we entered that promised land of our inheritance that the Father gave to us, we defiled the Father's land and made our Father heritage an abomination. And wonder why we're in the predicament we right now, oppressed. Every nation hate us and going against us because of our ways, right? Because first you want to go kiss up behind every nation and follow their own gods, and what they do, they willed us on in, right? Made us think and believe that they really love us and was giving us things so they can bribe us, and as soon as they got us, they turned against us, and then they became our superiors, and we became the inferiors. Shouldn't be the other way around. But back in the days, Israel and Judah was ruling in righteousness. Now everybody and all these nations is ruling in wickedness. Okay. So the Father just saying he done all this and brought us out of Egypt, but we decided to go against him and follow all these other gods and all these nations, right? And he brought us into a plentiful country to eat of all the good fruits. But when we entered, of course, we defiled the land and made his heritage an abomination. Okay, us, Israel, Judah. All right, verse 8. The priest said not, where is the Lord? The priest said not, where is the Lord? And they that handled the law knew me not. The pastors also transgressed against me, and the prophets prophesied by Baal, right? And walked after things that do not profit, right? So these supposed to be priests didn't even ask, right? Didn't even say where the Lord is, because they was kissing up to Baal gods, right? All those sexual gods and molestation gods and killing your kids gods, all of them to Baal, worship up to Baal. Y'all got to understand. When Baal was worshiping kids, I'm telling y'all, I read this in the pillar of fire. When they was worshiping Baal was sacrificing Israel kids. They would get like a 4-year-old child, the Baal, them Africans, they would get like a 4-year-old child, right? And sacrifice him, right, to their gods and kill him like at 4 years old, thinking that their gods, the gods of the mountains, the gods, all the animals were sacred, all these gods, right? They think they sacrifice them so these gods can, overcome them over Israel gods. So they was killing these kids. It was crazy. I'm talking about 4-year-old. They used these Hebrew Israelite kids. I read it in the Pillar of Egypt. It's very deep. They was using these children for sacrifices and rites. Just like the Bible says. But you got other history. You got to do research, because there's other books that says more. Like the Pillar of Egypt, that taught me how that they would sacrifice these Israelite children, right? To other gods, right? Thinking that them other gods was going to give them more power and protect them from the God of the Hebrews. Okay? So again, the priest said not where the Lord is, and they that handled the law knew the Lord not, right? The pastors, they also went against the Father, okay? And the prophets, they prophesied by Baal God, right? And walked after the things that don't even profit them, don't even benefit them, okay? All right. Verse 9, the head of change. It says, God's people exchanged him for idols. Did we? Did we not? Again, God's people exchanged him for idols. Of course we did. We want to run around here, hide, fly, and all this, materialistic out. Idols. Remember, because even this very diamond ring I have on my finger is an idol. It's only a symbolization of what man made a symbolization. This symbolization too. This ring have nothing to do with the Father bringing the covenant between husband and wife. It was something that the people did, because during the time when the Father had husband and wife together, they had witnesses and they would go make out and they became husband and wife. But during the time, man, of course, following Baal, came along and got a ring to symbolize marriage. But it is an idol. It has nothing to do with being married. Okay. Okay, so again, the header says, God's people exchanged him for idols. Verse 9, wherefore I will yet plead with you, said the Lord, and with your children's children would I plead. See, now our generation, like my grandchild, he going to plead. This generation that's coming down, oh, he going to plead, because right now, those generations is going to be the one, to rule in everlasting eternity. Okay? All right. So wherefore I will yet plead with you, said the Lord, and with your children's children would I plead. These generations to come. These generations to come will be the generations to reign with the Messiah for 1,000 years before that second coming, where it won't be no much power in the second one. And it won't be much power in the second coming, but in that first coming, there will be power. There will be all the priests and the pastors and the holy men that died for the sake of the Father. The Father, he will lift them up. They're gonna reign with the Messiah for 1,000 years. But those that have not been caught up into the Father, those right there ain't no power going. They're gonna be the ones that after that 1,000 reign, the Father gonna come back with judging, and then they're gonna be judged off their works. Okay? All right, verse 10. Oh, let me start at verse 9. Wherefore I will yet plead with you, said the Lord, and with your children's children would I plead. Verse 10. For pass over the isles of Chittim, and see, and send unto Kedar, and consider diligently, and see if there be such a thing, had a nation changed their gods, which are yet no gods, but my people have changed their glory for that which doeth not profit. So he's telling you, right? Go over to the Isles of Chittim, right? And see into Kedar, and diligently consider, have Kedar and have Chittim changed their gods? No, but Israel have stupid, old, ignorant, foolish Israel went over there and decided to intertwine with all these gods, right? Instead of their own Hebrew God. Okay, so he said, for pass over the Isles of Chittim, and see, and send unto Kedar, and consider diligently, and see if there be a such thing, had the nation changed their gods, which are yet no gods, but my people have changed their glory for that what do it not profit. Okay? Verse 12. Be astonished, O ye heavens, at this, and be horribly afraid. Be ye very desolate, said the Lord, for my people have committed two evils. For my people have committed two evils, right? They have forsaken me, the fountain of living waters, and hewn them out of cisterns, broken cisterns that hold no water. So he just saying, you guys went on the other side, thought the grass was green, trying to drink out somebody else's cistern, but it was broken. Because you had a food and life cistern, a omnipresence, a omnipotence, a omniscience all around you. But Israel, they decide to be foolish and go to fall under these other gods, right? And he's saying, and another nation changed their gods, but only Israel, right? Only my people have committed two evils. They have forsaken me, the fountains of the living waters, and have hewn them at the cistern, broken cisterns that's not even broken. They can't even hold water. Verse 14. All right, the head of change. How bitter is it to abandon God? Let me tell you how bitter it is, okay? Is Israel a servant? Is he a homeborn slave? Then why is he spoiled? Because Israel is definitely spoiled, but we are in the time of restoration, but we're definitely spoiled. Our people go against us. They want to, bring us down when we work hard, see where we at, because they want to sit in their bucket crabs and not do nothing for themselves, right? But become stupider and stupider and make their kids become stupider and stupider with them, right? So therefore, now the Father want to know, is Israel the servant? Well, many of Israel are a servant to their own minds. Their minds has caused them to be trapped in a prison because they don't even understand that it's their own minds that cause them to stay in bitterness, okay? And it said, is he a homeborn slave? Yeah, many of Israel is homeborn slaves to their lifestyles, to their mind, right? Because the mind is everything the way. If you cannot control your mind, you cannot control your life, right? And the same mind that brought you up is the same mind going to bring you down. So therefore, is he a homeborn slave? Yes, many of Israel is a homeborn slave to their own doings and their own lifestyle, okay? And they said, why is he spoiled? He's spoiled because Israel decided to go follow other gods instead of the Father. They had the Hebrew God. Every nation feared the Father's God, the Hebrew God. Israel got over there into Baal, to all their gods, and started to follow all them and became slaves and became in bondage and became captured. And right now today, we still oppressed because of our ignorance. And right now today, our people are still stupid and ignorant, doing the same thing, especially our immediate family members. They watch you 24/7 thinking you bougie and all that because they ain't got shit and because they ain't trying to do nothing to get anything. And they ain't trying to put the Father in their life so they can't see their faults. Instead, they watch you work hard to do the things you need to do so you can prosper, and they hate you for it. And what they do with the Messiah, they kill them for it. All right. Verse 15, the young lions roared upon him and yelled, and they made his land waste. His cities are burned without inhabitant. Also the children of North and Taphanes have broken the crown of thy head. Hast thou not procured this unto thyself, and that thou hast forsaken the Lord thy God when he led thee by the way? And now what hast thou to do in the way of Egypt, to drink the waters of Sihor? Or what hast thou to do in the way of Assyria, to drink the waters of the river? Thine own wickedness shall correct thee, and thy backsliding shall reprove thee. Thou therefore and see that it is an evil thing and bitter that thou hast forsaken the Lord thy God, and that my fear is not in thee, said the Lord God of hosts. So he's just saying, your own weakness shall correct thee. So all that weakness you doing, trust and believe me, it's going to hit you so hard until you're going to beg the Father to relieve you. Because all those don't like the Father, don't do them now. But guarantee you, it's already written. You're gonna experience something in your life where life is going to hit you so hard, you're going to fall so hard until you're going to beg the Father to help you. And that's when you're going to realize that you was not atheist. That you was not an atheist, okay? So again, verse 19, thine own wickedness shall correct thee, and thy backsliding shall reprove thee. Know therefore and see that it is an evil thing and bitter that thou hast forsaken the Lord thy God, and that my fear is not in thee, said the Lord God of hosts. It is a shameful thing that Israel is Judah will be restored, but many of us had forsaken God, right? You know, and that the fear of the God is not in us. Verse 20, talking about the sins of Judah, okay? For of old time I have broken thy yoke and burst thy bands, and thou sayest, I will not transgress when upon every high hill and under every green tree thou wanderest playing like a harlot. Let me read that again so I can get that understanding. The sins of Judah was the header, okay? For of old time I have broken thy yoke and burst thy bands, and thou sayest, I will not transgress, but when upon every high hill and under every green tree thou wanderest and play the harlot, lying and stuff, okay? Verse 21, yet I had planted thee a noble vine, wholly a right seed. How dare not thou turn into a degenerate plant of a strange vine unto me? Like we are now strangers, right, to the Father, right? We heal him. He's not looking at us as his chosen ones right now until we get it together. So he can go ahead, you know, and bring that covenant to, right? But he said, yet I had planted thee a noble vine, right? Planted Israel, a holy righteous seed to the Father. But he said, how then art thou turned? How have we turned into this degenerate plant of a strange vine unto the Father? Okay? Verse 22, for though thou wash thee with nitrate and take thee much soap, yet thine iniquity is marred before me, said the Lord. And nitrate is something they used to use back in Egypt and they was washing linen and used for embalming and purposes like that. But it was used for deep cleaning. But the Father saying that even though you guys was clean with nitrate, and it take much soap, right? It's still there because that iniquity is marked before the Father, said the Lord God, okay? How canst thou say, I am not polluted? I have not gone after Balaam. See thy way in the valley. Know what thou hast done. Thou art a swift dromedary traversing her ways, right? Traversing her ways, a wild ass used to the wilderness that snuffing up the wind at her pleasure. In her occasion, who can turn her away? All they that seek her will not worry themselves in her mouth, and will not worry themselves in her month. They shall find her. So he's just saying, how can you say that I'm not polluted, right? You polluted. How can you say I'm not polluted and you have went out the veil, right? It says, see thy way in that valley of Baal, right? Know what you have done, right? You are swift dromedary. You traverse it in Baal's ways, right? You used to be, used to the wilderness, right? And that snuffed up the wind at her pleasure, right? But in this occasion, right? Whoever seek it becomes wary, and they will find them, in that month when they or it should find them. But they won't be wary to find them because they're only gonna find them when it comes to them. Okay. So again, he's talking about Balaam. So I hope I didn't confuse nobody with this one. Let me read that one more time. A wild ass used to the wilderness that snuffed up the wind at her pleasure. In her occasion, who can turn her away? So he's talking about, somebody that used to be in the wilderness, right? But during her occasion, who can turn her away? You only gonna, it say all day that seek her, right, will not worry themselves. So those who seek her, she's not going to come around until she's ready, right? So that's what it says, in her month, they shall find her, okay? So they're talking about, Balaam and everything, right? And traversing these ways, in her ways, okay? Verse 25, withhold thy foot from being unshod and thy throat from thirst. But thou sayest, there is no hope. No, for I have loved strangers and after them will I go. And he's saying is, withhold thy feet from being unshod, meaning like, put your shoes on, okay? And thy throat from thirst. Make sure you drink, quench your thirst. But thou saidest, there is no hope, right? No, for I have loved strangers and after them will I go. So that's what Israel and them said. They love strangers, but there's no hope. They love what the strangers doing, right? Because all that the strangers doing allow them, also to become glorified in power, right? And then they die too, okay? Verse 26, as the thief is ashamed when he is found, so is the house of Israel ashamed. They, their kings, their princes, and their priests, and their prophets, saying to a stock, thou art my father, and to a stone, thou hast brought me forth. For they have turned their back unto me, and not their face. But in the time of their trouble, they will say, arise and save us. You see? What he's saying, in time of trouble, it's going to get to a point where you're going to be like, right, save us, Father. You're going to get to that point where you're going to need the Father. You may not need him now. You think you glorified and all your power and all your materialistic stuff, but he's coming because nothing is permanent. Everything is transitory. Everything is changed, right? Everything changed. Everything that's good should actually turn opposite down the line if you're not following the Father's ways. And that also really affects you because the people hate the Father's children, so then they mostly become martyrs anyway. So all that have good lives only live a few days. Always remember that. Okay. Again, as the thief is ashamed when he is found, so is the house of Israel ashamed. They, their kings, their princes, and their priests, and their prophets, saying to a stock, thou art my father, and to a stone, thou hast brought me forth. For they have turned their back unto the Father, and not their face. But in due time, during their trouble, they will say, arise, and save us, Father. Verse 28, but where are thy gods that have made thee? Let them arise. If they can save thee in the time of thy trouble, for according to the number of thy cities are thy gods in Judah. So he's saying, right, what you calling on me now, right? You was dissing me, right? I was an atheist. I don't believe in God. God is nowhere. But now he's saying, so, all the people that you was praising so far, helping you get to where you at. He's saying, where are your gods that has made you? Where they of Judah. So why go to that God that you was putting before the Father all the time? Now you in trouble. Now you want this God, right? But all those other gods you was falling to on their beck and call, but you see those gods can't save you. Now you out, down and out. You need the real Hebrew God to save you now, huh? What a hypocrite. Okay. All right, verse 27. I'm sorry, yeah, not that. Verse 29. Wherefore will ye plead with me? Ye all have transgressed against me, said the Lord. And I read that earlier, right? We all fall short of the glory. Again, wherefore will ye plead with me? Ye have all transgressed against me, said the Lord. So he's saying we must all repent. We all fall short of glory. We all have sinned. We was born into a sinful world or a sinful state. So therefore we must repent, and seek the Father, right, to guide our lives. All right. Again, verse 29. Wherefore will you plead me? Ye all have transgressed against me, said the Lord. Verse 30. In vain have I smitten your children. They received no correction. Your own sword had devoured your prophets like a destroying lion. Did y'all just hear what he said about your own foolishness ways? Let me read that again. In vain. He had to smite our children in vain, but not mine. He had to smite so many children in vain because why? The parents. They received no correction from the parents, right? He said, your own foolishness sword, parents, have devoured your prophets like a destroying lion. So all the prophets, the parents, the priests, they ain't nothing neither. They falling behind Baal too. That's why all the children are being grown right now, right? So he said, in vain, I have smitten your children. They received no correction. Your own sword have devoured your prophets like a destroyed lion. Our own people from their filthy and wickedness and perverse, nasty, atrocious ways. Okay? Verse 31. O generation, see ye the word of the Lord. Have I been a wilderness unto Israel, a land of darkness? Wherefore say my people, we are Lord's. We will come no more unto thee. You see, the Father said, yeah, he said, O generation, see ye the word of the Lord. He's telling you right now, he has been a wilderness unto Israel, right? He been a darkness to Israel right now, right? And they said, wherefore say my people are saying we are Lord's, right? But they would not come no more to the Father. So what he did, he have distanced himself, right? You got to distance yourself from your children. I got to distance myself from my family, right? Because they hate you for a reason. Hate you for no reason at all, okay? So again, O generation, see ye the word of the Lord. Have I been a witness unto Israel, a land of darkness? Wherefore say my people, we are Lord's. We will come no more unto thee. So in their mind, they feel like they gods. They don't need the Father. But they destroying everything. Destroying their children, destroying the prophets, destroying the pastors, the children, the boys don't know if they're girls, the girls don't know if they're boys. Everything wrong is right. Everything right is wrong. The world is turned upside down. The Father says, shoot, even the elders will be deceived if he don't shorten that time. He got to get us the hell up out of here. They crazy. Okay, verse 32. Can a maid forget her ornaments, or a bride her attire? Yet my people have forgotten me days without numbers. Surely have again. Can a maid forget her ornaments, or a bride her attire? Yet my people have forgotten me days without number. Right? Why trimmest thou thy way to seek love? Therefore hast thou also taught the wicked ones thy ways. So he's saying, why trimmest down thy way to seek love? He's saying, if you seek love fully, right? Don't sit up here and make yourself settle for somebody who you know that's going to love you. You know that person ain't going to love you. And you know in your future it's going to be number of afflictions, contention, and everything with this person because you have trimmed down the things or your standards of your worthiness, right? To complete your love in the full term. Instead, you was desperate and wanted a piece of a man. So you trimmed down the love, and now you have taught this wicked ways to many generations. So many women are trimming down that love because they don't give it the benefit of the doubt of their worthiness to get full love, a full circle. Okay? So again, why trimmest down thy way to seek love? Therefore hast thou also taught the wicked ones thy ways. Right? Oh, you taught those wicked ones thy ways. So now they're like, shoot, I'm learning from that part. If this one ain't setting a good example to teach me the full circle of love, they trimmest down that love. So therefore, I don't have to really show true love or receive true love. In fact, down my life, it's okay. I know, you know what I mean? What I think in my mind, I'm going to have true love, but what I'm doing with my knowledge, with my less of a knowledge caused me to perish, my love would be defiled because I trimmed it down, just to settle, right, for a piece of a man instead of a man, a man that the Father sent you with full love. Verse 34. Also in thy skirts is found the blood of the souls of the poor innocents. I have not found it by secret search, but upon all these. Yet thou says, you hear him? This is the short. Yet thou says, because I am innocent, surely his anger shall turn from me. Behold, I will plead with thee, because thou says, I have not sinned, right? So again, 34. Also in thy skirts is found the blood of the souls of the poor of innocents, right? So in your skirts, right? In your facility, in your ways, right? In your circle, right? The Father, he sees everything, right? Remember, he's omnipresent, omnipotent, and omniscience, all right? Omnipresence, he's everywhere. Omniscience means he's knowledgeable about everything. And omnipotent means he is overwhelming with his knowledge and his word, okay? So, again, also in thy skirts is found the blood of the soul of the poor of innocence. So all in your ways, in your circle, in your peoples, in your friends, right? He have found the souls of poor of innocence, right? And he have not found it by secret, right? He found it by these, because thou sayest, I am innocent, surely his anger should turn from me. Behold, I will plead with thee, because thou sayest, I have not sinned. But you have sinned, remember? Because like he said, he has found in thy skirts, in a circle, right? All your peoples you hang with, all the souls of the poor of innocence, right? And he said he had to do it in a secret search. He done it powerfully and publicly, because in your heart and your mind and your delusional thinking, you think that you're innocent. But it was you he found all those souls and blood of. It was in your circle. So you're a liar, for you to think that you're innocent. You have fell short of the glory. And again, yet thou says, because I am innocent, surely his anger shall turn from me. Behold, I will plead with thee, because thou sayest, I have not sinned, but you have. Verse 36. Why gaddest thou about so much to change thy way? Thou also shalt be ashamed of Egypt, as thou was ashamed of Assyria. Okay. Again, why gaddest thou about so much to change thy way? Okay, gaddest means talking about something really no substance to it. Had no meaning or anything. Sort of gossiping, stuff. Okay, why gaddest thou about so much to change thy way? Thou also shalt be ashamed of Egypt, as thou was ashamed of Assyria. And because Egypt, when Israel was captured by Egypt, and also Assyria came. So of course, you got the first 10 tribes. Who's that? The northern and the southern, the northern kingdom. It's the northern kingdom and the southern kingdom, right? We know the first 10 tribes, they was captured by was it Assyria? One of them was captured by Assyria. Egypt had Israel. That was way before. But after that, the land of captivity, they moved forward. And then Israel, I believe, was captured. The northern kingdom was captured by Assyria or Babylon. Okay, I'm going to leave that alone. But Judah, I cannot believe I just forgot. I lost that thought. Judah was captured down the later. Israel first was captured, by Assyria. And down the line, Judah was also captured. Or Israel could have been captured. Yeah, Israel first was captured. The first 10 tribes was captured at first because they disobedient to the Father. And then down the line, Judah became captured, right? Then Judah was able to go back from their exile, but none was ever the same. Not the temple or nothing. They tried to rebuild the temple, but nothing was ever the same, okay? All right, and verse 37, final verse. Yeah, thou shalt go forth from him, and thine hands upon thine head. For the Lord had rejected thy confidences, and thou shalt not prosper in them. So again, although so many people, again, that's thinking they can do all this, think they're doing themselves. If the Father not helping you, trust and believe me, you're really doing it in vain, and you will fall soon. Again, thou shalt go forth from him, and thine hands upon thy head. For the Lord had rejected thy confidences. So all that you think you got confidence, that's your own confidence, ain't from the Father, okay? and thou shalt not prosper in them. So your confidences that you lean on your own understanding with will not allow you to prosper. You only will prosper is through the Father, right? All right, you guys. I told you guys that when I found out, which Pharaoh, that Moses had to contend with because of Israel, I will tell y'all, okay? So the Pharaoh was never Ramses, okay? Ramses and Moses was the same person. Ramses was Moses as a child, okay? Ramses was Ramses of Egypt because Ramses was one of the names that Egypt utilized. So during Moses' youth, his name was Ramses, right? But we was led to believe that Ramses was the Pharaoh that Moses contended with. That's not the case at all. Ramses was Moses as a child. And then when Moses got older, he became Moses. After he left Egypt, Ramses became Moses, right? So now Moses went into Midian with Jethro, his son-in-law, and married Jethro's daughter-in-law and stayed there, I think, for maybe 40 years. And then he came back. He was 40 years in the mountain of Sinai so the Father could humble him and teach him and get him prepared, him and Aaron, to go back and free the Israelites from Egypt, okay? So during that time, again, Ramses was a child. His name was Ramses as a child. But when he got older, he left Egypt because when he went to all them gods, when his mama Amis, Queen Amis, was Ramses or Moses' mama, okay? During the time, when that King Morris came about, oh my Lord, Morris came to threaten Queen Amis, who was Ramses' mom or Moses' mom, to make her know, good and well, that Ramses or Moses is not really of Egypt. You adopted that child, okay? And named him Ramses. So Morris already knew that for the longest because Queen Amis, who was Moses' mom or Ramses' mom, made an agreement, with the king of Morris at that time. Morris knew that Ramses or Moses was never of Egypt, but Queen Amis had adopted Moses right when he was in that water, in the Nile. And the reason why his name was Moses because he came from the Nile. So now, during those years to come, when Morris decided that now he wants the kingdom, the upper kingdom of Egypt and Lord king of Egypt, he went against Queen Amis and made her know, I'm finna come down on you. You're supposed to be my kingdom. You know that Ramses or Moses is not of Egypt. He is not of king, but he's a Hebrew child. That caused Queen Amis, Ramses' mother, to call her to her deathbed. Because she couldn't live no more. Because now she know this whole kingdom finna fall. Okay? Because Morris came and challenged that. So now his kingdom finna fall and he finna take it from Ramses. Queen Amis said, Ramses, I need you to go take the kingdom. So Ramses like, I'm supposed to take the kingdom. Or Moses like, I'm supposed to take the kingdom until you die. She's like, no, I need you to take it now. I need you to take this kingdom. So he's like, okay. He questioned it. And it was something that was she was holding from him. And he was like, what? Am I not the son? She was like, I'll always be your mama. You are the son. But in turn, she was hiding. She said, I can't tell you this secret because I will die and take it to my grave. But the secret was that Moses was never of Egyptian descendants or Ramses. Moses was never of the Egypt descendants. Morris knew that. And because Morris was going to come take over and probably threaten Ramses, Queen Amis, who was the mother of Ramses or Moses, died. On her deathbed. She gave a prophecy that Moses will be the leader to free Israel. And also told his mama, Jochebed, told Aaron, his brother, and the father, showed Jochebed and his sister Miriam that, though, you lost him as a child, right? I lost him as he become older, but I have born you a king. He will free you guys. So I just want to let you guys know that Ramses did not contend with Moses during that time of Egypt because Ramses and Moses was the same person. The person that Moses went to go contend to free Israel was Pharaoh Thutmose IV. Again, Pharaoh Thutmose IV was who Moses went against to contend with to free Israel from Egypt. Not Pharaoh Ramses, because Pharaoh Ramses and Moses is the same person. Pharaoh Ramses was Moses as a child, and Moses, when he became to free Israel, he left Ramses alone and became Moses, right? So again, Pharaoh Thutmose the fourth is who Moses went to contend against to free the children of Israel. All right, you guys. I hope I brought some clarity to you guys. I told you guys I was going to tell you that I was going to find out who it was that Moses contended with, but it definitely wasn't Ramses, because Ramses is Moses, okay? All right? So I hope you guys got some clarity. And again, I hope you guys are learning from me, right? You know, because we're in a time of restoration, right? You know, and thank you guys for even taking, considering listening to me. And I just want you guys to know one thing. I now see why Messiah was pushed away from his own country, and why they hated and killed him for no reason. It wasn't that he thought he was better. It wasn't that he was bougie. It was just that they could not comprehend, the divinity of the Messiah. They couldn't comprehend what he was doing. So they made themselves believe that he thought he was better because of their own wickedness. Because he wanted righteousness, they hated righteousness. And because they didn't want righteousness, they hated him for no reason and persecuted him. And that's what goes on. All the true teachers of Israel, those who really teach for the Father, this is what we experience. Trust and believe me. I feel like I've been forced out of my own city of Chicago. Trust and believe me, I had to get away. Because the more I get into the word and the more I teach, the more my family hate me. Completely hate me. You understand? And they keep saying, oh, she bougie, think her child is better than that. It ain't got nothing to do with me thinking I'm better than nobody. I never been bougie to nobody. I don't think I'm better. I've always gave out my pockets. I've always gave and adopted and took care of their kids and had custody of the kids and held my handicapped sister and took care of her, and her child took care of my sister, her 3 kids, even her man stayed with me, giving all my money. Then took care of all these things. But what I have gotten in return is pure hate. I'm not even welcome into my family no more. They have booted me completely out. Which is fine, because remember, the Messiah said they booted him out too. He had to get away. He said my own country had to boot me because of who he was. The same thing. Because of who I am, my family hate me. And all they do is sit around now. Oh, Latrice, she thinks she's too bougie, and she thinks her daughter is better. Her daughter is better than them. And it's like, I've never said these words. They don't come out of my mouth. All I ever do is give and show love. And because the Father had put me in a position to be able to give and help, I'm hated for it. I'm bougie. I think I'm better than everybody. All because I want to help. But now I'm at the point they can stick a fork in me. I'm done. I'm done. Because every time my family called me, they caused me sorrow and grief. I be peaceful. The Father bring me peace. And that's what he said. You got to separate yourself from your family. Because in order to follow the Father, you got to separate yourself from your family. Now I see what he means. I should be like, man, what he mean separate yourself from the family? You don't have a choice but to separate yourself from your family, because your family going to come after you because of who you are and what you stand for. And because you work for the Father, they hate you because they're dealing in wickedness. They hate you because you got life. They hate you because you do what you got to do, because them themselves have failed, and they failed their children. But they're looking at you steady climbing, steady prospering. They about to kill themselves. They over there ears smoking, stirring up emotions, all because of my presence. My very presence now stirs up emotions. And that's what let me know the Father has elevated me. All praise to the Most High. I appreciate my family, disrespecting me, right? And me coming around, my very presence stirring them up, because I ain't said nothing to nobody. But that have told me, the Father said, I must separate myself from my family. So be it. For years. Because now he's trying to elevate me. Because my very presence now stirs up emotions. In the same way they persecuted him, hey, they'll do me the same way, because they don't have understanding, right? And because of what I'm doing, trying to bring so much light, and it's changing people, they hate me for it. Well, so be it. Get in line, because you ain't the only one that hate me. And I love y'all. Peace.